My name's Jen Bork, and I'm here in beautiful Eastman, Quebec, at the Diocese of Montreal's annual Youth Synod in March 2009. Tim Smart and I have been going around asking youth and adults in this diocese what they would like to see the church look like in 2019.
I think the church should be a bunch of different people from different races talking about their experiences and singing and reading the Bible about God and everything like that.
Well, I would like to hope that the church would become a place for meditation and peace, and that people could come there to become a better person and not just have conflicts over childish things. A church should be a place where people come together rather than find ways to be, thrown apart. And I don't think the church will be able to achieve this in 10 years. Realistically, but hopefully the church can maintain just being. I want the church to be instead of an institution where people support greed, people support argument, people support anything that deflects from spirituality.
I want to see the church as a home, not only a place for Christians to go, but a place for everyone to go, a place where love just radiates, like a pool of love, where as soon as you come in, you're just overwhelmed with people that love you no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what you believe.
Dans 10 ans, j'aimerais qu'il y ait plus de place pour les jeunes à l'église. J'aimerais que les jeunes se fassent plus entendre par rapport à ce qu'ils pensent et tout, parce que de nos jours, l'église est moins importante pour les jeunes à cause de la nouvelle technologie. Il y a l'internet, il y a les cellulaires, il y a le travail. Les jeunes ont moins le temps pour l'église, alors l'église devrait faire quelque chose pour que ça puisse changer.
I would say peace, back in peace, and love reigning everywhere, so that people could finally be together as like they always have been.
I guess the first thing definitely is that I hope that there's still a church in 10 years. That is something that I think about sometimes, and I'm like, especially now with the numbers that are decreasing. I guess there are a lot of things that I guess could make it better, and one thing I find is that we're supposed to be a really welcoming and accepting church or diocese, and sometimes I feel like we become really restrictive. Like, I know there's a whole issue of the whole same-sex blessing that's dividing us right now, and it really pains me to see the division that's going on in all these churches who are leaving our diocese because of this disagreement, and it's not right to me. So number one, I definitely want there to be more acceptance in this church, because that's what church is supposed to be about. You're supposed to feel safe and welcome and loved, and you shouldn't feel rejected just because of the way that you live your lifestyle, because of what you believe. Because the bottom line is we all love Christ and we want to worship him and praise him and grow with him and in his beliefs and values.
I'd like to see our church in 10 years having moved out of the experience of a maintenance model and mindset of survival into an exciting understanding of mission, and engaged in mission that speaks of God's good news of love and compassion and generosity to the world, expressed through our local communities, that speaks highly of what we're looking at through the 5 marks of mission in the Anglican Communion and also the Millennium Development Goals. And if we can begin to see ourselves engaged in that way, I think we're broadening our understanding of parochial ministry and engaging in a world that God so loves, and is God's care for the world in which we live.
Well, one thing I definitely like to see is more acceptance, and definitely no longer having issues with the gay community. I think that's something that it just should be an automatic thing where we just accept everybody no matter what, like, sexual orientation, color, or anything like that. I think everybody should just be accepted as human beings.
I think church is based on acceptance and loving your neighbor as yourself. So if you have a flaw, and it's not as big as your sexuality or whatever, but you still have flaws, and if, let's say, your church told you to get out because of your flaw, and it's oh, you're not wearing the right shoes, grow up. Church is about being accepted. Just accept everybody. If Jesus was here, he would tell you to accept everybody because he accepted everybody, and that's what Jesus would do.
I think in terms of my ideal church, I would think it would be ideal to be able to walk into a church and just automatically feel welcomed, regardless of how old you are, what color you are, what your sexual orientation is. I think we should just all be accepted regardless of all that. And someday I want to be able to look around my church and see people of all different ages and not be the youngest person at the age of 17.
And all different colors.
Yeah, I want to see some diversity in the church.
And different heights.
Yeah.
And different widths.
Something else I'd really like to see is maybe, because we talk a lot about our God, but I think we should explore into other people's perception of God, like other religions, because we talk about acceptance and accepting everybody no matter what. Well, that includes accepting other people's religions, and I think that we should not follow their faith, but try to understand where they're coming from, because in reality, we all have one ideal thing that we worship, and for us it just happens to be God and Jesus. For someone else it could be Buddha or everything else, but it's all just different variations of God.
And I think we all have our own perception of God, and we have to respect each other's understanding of God and try to understand it.
I think by working with the young people, we really need to make sure that we're teaching them to figure out what they believe, not just dictate a belief structure and whatnot. I'm a thorough believer in evangelism through experience, so providing opportunities and experiences that they can just wrestle with some of the issues that they may be facing.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
I think we would like to see the church be a place that had whole families and people with no children, and absolutely everybody could come together and explore what it means to be a community of God. I hope that in 10 years, all of these young people are still in the church, still feel that the church is a place where they can offer their gifts, and that their children are in church.